Hello there, it is Carrie Rhodes. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I am making some Slimline Christmas cards featuring Yana's Glimmer Hot Foil collection for Christmas. I have 3 different sets of glimmer plates that I will be using to create these cards. The first one is the Glimmered Winter Village. It has 3 plates in it, 2 village scenes, and 1 snow plate. The second is Yana's Christmas Sentiments. This one has glimmer plates as well as dies to cut them out. Also, I will be using the previously released polka dot strip, also from Yana's collection. So let's start with that polka dot strip, and we're going to use Opal Foil to create a background the entire length of this slimline panel. This slimline panel measures 9 inches by 4 inches, and you can see here I am counting the squares on my Glimmer Hot Foil plate to know how much room it takes up, and I'm going to scoot it down that number of squares. Then I can take mark of where my paper should go to do the next row. This plate is designed to repeatedly foil it for a continuous background look. So I'm just dusting off any excess foil that remained behind, and then again I'm counting and moving that down, and then I can place my Opal Foil down. This is my current favorite foil. You can see here it's translucent, so the color of the paper is going to show through whatever you use this foil on, but it will leave behind that pearlescent look. It's amazing. I love it so much. It's my favorite. I love it to make tone-on-tone backgrounds. I've done it in 2 other videos, and I can't stop. It is so fabulous. If you look really close at this background, you might notice it's not foiling like absolutely perfectly. And for a background that's going to have a lot of things on top of it, I just didn't worry about it. Sometimes my things don't glimmer hot foil perfectly, and in my life, I am working on letting go of perfection and just having fun. So a lot of times it doesn't matter, but there are those times when you just have to throw it out, use the other side, and start over. But today is not one of those times. It actually worked out great, and I loved how my background turned out. So I went ahead and finished glimmering up that entire panel with my Opal Foil, and you can see this is the last row here, and it's kind of scary doing a whole big background like this versus an A2 size card, but it worked out. It was worth it. In the end, I love how it looks. All right, so now let's move on to that little village. You can see here the snow piece has like wonky edges. That's so it can fit in and around that village scene. So cool. All right, so I'm going to be foiling this with Magenta Foil onto some bubblegum cardstock. So I'm using a dark pink on a light pink, and look at the results. So pretty. Now I'm going to use the second village scene, and I have flipped that snow plate around, and it fits over the top of this one now beautifully. I'm using Viridian Green and a light green cardstock. So cool. All right, and now for the sentiment from the new sentiment collection, I'm using polished brass foil onto some brushed gold cardstock. Look at this. So pretty. Ah, love it. Okay, now there are times when the hot foil and I don't get along. I mean, we're friends, but we just have to work at it a little bit. Yeah, and be patient with each other. Oh, sometimes it's hard. So I had to fuss with this foil a little bit, fuss with the size, how to put it on, all the things. Even here, when I go to remove the foil, I had to find that edge. Mercy. And this is greatly sped up, so you didn't actually see how long the hot foil and I struggled with each other. All right, so I'm die cutting these out. One thing to remember when you're die cutting out your Glimmer hot foiled pieces, never let the tape that you're taping your die down with touch the foiling. It can remove it and dull it out. All right, so then I'm gluing these circles onto coordinating cardstock that is a shade darker, just to accentuate the darker foil on there. Now my sentiment strip was already a small piece of paper, and I just wanted it to be a little bit smaller because these sentiments are so thin. So I'm using an X-Acto knife to do that because, like I said, I already started with a small piece of paper. So Now we will glue these down onto our super amazing polka dot background, and you'll see here that I had put my green one up too high. I put it on with liquid glue, but it was almost dry. So here's my tip: if you have to remove it, use a twisting motion to get it off, and you're less likely to tear the paper. So there's my little tip on how to fix things like that. And now I'm using some gift twine. This is white twine with a gold thread twisted through it. So it's fabulous, right? All right, so if you want to adjust the size of your bow, I suggest holding the knot down while adjusting that so that your bow, the ends of the bow don't twist themselves. And then I'm going to mount that to my card base with some foam tape. So the card base itself is 9 inches by 8 inches, scored at 4. This fits into my Slimline or business size envelopes that I found at the Dollar Tree and works perfectly. I just added a little strip of that brushed gold for the inside to dress it up, and that completes my first card. Now I'm going to bring in another plate from the collection. This is the Glimmer Gift Border Die plate. It's not a die, it's a plate. Sorry. I'm going to tape that on to my Slimline panel and use the tape like a hinge, like you would open a book. So I'm putting the foil now, so the pretty side of the foil is facing my plate. And then you're going to close that down on itself. When you put this onto your Glimmer Hot Foil plate, you want to make sure the plate is the side touching the Glimmer Hot Foil system, the hot part. All right, so then I'm going to remove the foil, see those beautiful presents, and then I can scoot that die down and finish off this border all the way down my Slimline card using the same technique of that hinge. And this technique I learned from Yana. She's like the master of all things Glimmer, and I adore her creations. So the fact that she has her own Glimmer Hot Foil line, I love, and I was super excited to play with this collection. All right, so then I'm going to do a sentiment for this card that says Merry Christmas with the polished brass foil on white paper. And you can see there I have over foiling. When your plates get really hot, you put your foil down. If you touch your paper down with the foil and the plate there and then you move it, it can sometimes very quickly transfer foil. So that's probably what happened there. Now I'm doing it says From All of Us. Now the From plate has little notches that the All of Us plate can slide into and line up. They kind of like interlock. So that was awesome, I thought. I love when your plates or your dies can also be tools. So now I'm taking some distress ink and using that to watercolor in some of these presents. This is Mowed Lawn, and I'm just using a blending brush that has the water inside. And then I'm going to use some pink here. This is Picked Raspberry for some of the other presents. So now I'm bringing in all 3 of my colors, the pink and the greens that I chose to use for these Christmas cards. So I love this color combination. I love doing little plays on Christmas colors where you switch out the red for the pink or you switch out the green for a turquoise. I love that. So I thought it just makes it kind of more fun. And this has, I think, a little like vintage feel to it, or retro, like maybe the 60s time frame. I don't know. What do you think? All right, so I pierced a circle right around where my sentiment circle is going to go. And then I thought I might as well bring in that twine and tie another bow. I wrapped it around my panel 3 times and then tied the bow. So it has the same look as the previous Christmas card. I love doing that where I make a card and then I leave out all the same supplies and create a second Christmas card and they coordinate. It just takes out some of that brain work that you have to do when designing, and it helps you challenge yourself. Like, how can I use these things in a different way? So I'm going to pop my sentiment up on some foam squares and put it right in the center of that pierced circle. And now I'm putting 3 layers of scrap cardstock on the back of this card. I didn't want to use a ton more foam tape because I'm running out. So I have some cheap lightweight cardstock that I use to run through my printer and do gel press prints and do things like this. So I put that on the back. It gives my card that tiny bit of lift that it needs to make room for my twine. And it worked perfect. Now I have some embellishments. These rhinestones are from a collection called All the Things. It's so funny, but really you can use them on all the things. So I chose the pink and the green. Of course, they worked perfect for this card to just put in and around there. Now I have some other presents that I had already Glimmer hot foiled trying this plate out, and I thought I would cut them out and do a little stack of presents in the inside of my card. For this one, I am working really hard to always add a little touch to the inside, even the tiniest thing like that strip of gold paper on the first card. It's just a little something and makes the inside a little bit more special. All right, so there are the 2 cards for today. I think that the collection for Christmas that Spellbinders has with their plates, their dies, their stamps is super fun. So make sure you check that out. I'm going to have everything listed and linked for you below. So if you're interested, you can go ahead and click and check those things out. You can also see these cards on my blog. And I will be back very soon with another video. So stay tuned. Feel free to subscribe if you're new here because I have new videos all the time. All right, thanks so much for watching and happy stamping. Bye.